Hello, Dan. How's it going? So, quick mic check. Does I sound okay? Jerry can cosplay. Hello, Jerry. All right. So, looks like everything's mostly okay. Good, good, good. More people are popping in. Set my phone over there. It's out of the shot. This is mostly out of the shot. Hello, I'm Odin, and welcome to everyone who's here currently, who is specifically my patrons who join me with my Patreon level and part of my private Discord, so I start early as a private stream just for you guys. I'm saying all this for those who are in the future watching, because I know that those of you who are watching already freaking know this. So hi guys, how's it going? My plan for today was to go ahead and build a boffer style, I want to say Lego, I'm not building Legos, a boffer style lightsaber. I'm doing this because coming up in just 2 weeks is May the 4th, and I'm going to be working with a group who's doing e-gaming and a Star Wars event and a cosplay event in the city of Rancho Cordova, and they wanted me to do a workshop. So I thought if I, practice the demonstration for one, and doing it as a live stream, record the demonstration so I at least have images I can reference during my actual demonstration when I'm doing it live, plus I could probably make it a video, and actually my plan is to make it a video. I just say probably to, give myself an out. I want to make a video so I can post that and actually have some content. So doing this live stream is going to try and do four different things. First off, I'm not going to work on the Ghostbusters stuff. Secondly, I'm going to try to wing it. I don't have a script. I'm going to run through my building a lightsaber plan as much as I've got. I'm going to record that so I can edit it later, and I'm going to be also recording it so I can grab stills to help with a live presentation that'll be happening on May the 4th. So I'll be doing that in just a second. First, let's see. Sound is good. Good. I'm glad to hear. Thank you, Dan. I was doing a quick sound check because I've got the microphone I usually wear that's going to the camera that's recording or will be recording. And as such, I know the levels are different. So I was trying to make sure that the levels were set so everyone wasn't, we can't hear you, Odin. What's going on? So I didn't want that to happen. Winging it is just so handy, isn't it, Jerry? Yeah. Honestly, when I'm making my videos, since this whole live stream is mostly about making my videos, I don't have a script when I start. I shoot my videos kind of documentary style, right? I'll have my ideas, which would be my questions. So my question to myself is, how am I going to build a boffer style lightsaber? And I think about what I'm going to be doing. I plan ahead with the materials I plan on using. So I've got those all scattered around me currently. And then I will start answering the question that I asked myself. How am I going to build this thing? Once the filming portion of it is done, once the interview portion of it is done, then I will take all the footage, and there's lots of different footage here, back to my edit station and cut down the interview to just the entertaining part, just the bits that run however long it wants to be. I suspect this video will be shorter, but however long it wants to be in order to get my message across. And if necessary, and most of the time it's necessary, I will add a voiceover, and that is written after the fact when I'm talking about what I'm doing on screen, because it's never been my habit to fully narrate what I'm doing while I'm doing it. I found for me that it is easier to do it all after the fact. I've got multiple cameras recording. I can watch the main camera, and I can sit at the computer and write what I see that I'm doing. I can make it a simpler, more concise message. And then once I have all that written for the footage that I've shot, I'll actually come back to this exact spot in the studio, put on the same microphone, it's right here, and talk to the same camera to record my voiceover in an attempt to make the two sound as close together as I can. That is virtually impossible to do, even though I'm using the same camera, the same building, the same spot, the same lights with the same hum, got all that going on. The temperature, the time of day, my energy level makes it really hard to have the voiceover sound like it wasn't a voiceover. It's a weird thing to be worried about, but as an editor, it's something I pay attention to. So that's typically what I do. So what you're not going to see is me coming back with a script and holding it right here, which, by the way, holding a script and reading it creates an echo off the paper that changes the sound quality. But I'll be holding a script and reading it here. You won't be seeing that part because that part doesn't exist yet. Checking on things. So Dan Does Junk says, so this is going to be a little behind the scenes on video content. Yes, it is. And I'm going to try and make some freaking video content. I've got a bunch shot. It's just been really hard for me to get going again. And I apologize for that. Schultz Division, hello! Schultz won't be here for long. He just got home from visiting his mother-in-law. Sweet. I'll be doing that in next month. Here in America, Mother's Day is in May, and I'm going to be going visiting my mom. Oh, shit, I didn't finish reading it. She's sick with cancer. I'm sorry, Schultz. I didn't read the whole thing. That is not easy. I'm sorry, Schultz. I hope your mother is doing well. Dan's editing another gaming video. And, yeah, Jerry and everyone else is all chiming in with sorry to hear that, Schultz. Definitely, yeah, sorry to hear that. That's not easy, yeah. Sorry, making me think about other family members and stuff. Okay. The sudden concern of, am I being insensitive? Okay, so how do I shoot a video? How do I want to go about doing this? Most of the time when I'm shooting a video, I'm the only one here. When I started, I had a cameraman. Joe Gills from Beyond Geek was actually helping me, coaching me. He would be standing where the tripod camera that I'm talking to now is standing, but tripod is a way better cameraman. He doesn't get all that tired. He doesn't go home. So I've got that standing here. But then because Joe and then later on another friend, Neil Cohen, Joe helped me when I was doing DIY Prop Shop. Neil Cohen came in when I was starting to do Odin Makes. And Neil was happy to have something to do on the weekends to get himself out of the house. So he was happy to come by and help me and did it for a year, I think, or almost. And then it just gets to become too much. I mean, I would feed my cameraman, right? Because I could do that. But it only goes so far when, someone's trapped all day while you're trying to shoot something. So at this point, I pretty much shoot all by myself. I've got the main tripod that I'm talking to, and I'm going to gesture because this camera shouldn't see them all. So I got this camera recording. I have this camera over here that's recording, which is this guy. So I got that camera. That's my close-up camera for doing things, right? And then I have the camera over here, which is my camera 2. So it gives me another... Being a TV guy, I like having different angles to cut to when I'm editing and not have jump cuts or just the same camera angle over and over again. I know that's not a big deal. That's an editing choice, and my choice is to do my best to not do that. So that's 3 cameras, right? And then I got a 4th camera that's overhead, which is I hit the wrong button. So I got that one. That's my down. So focus a lot on the work because the idea is what I'm building, right? So when I started my videos, it was always what I'm building was important, not me. And apparently somewhere along the lines with live streams and whatnot, that may have changed, but I'm still kind of have the same idea that what I'm building and how I'm building it is the focus of the video. So most of the cameras are here on the table. So that's 4 cameras I've shown you. I've got one more, but I don't have an input for it, and that's over there. And I sometimes cut to it on the live streams. And that one is up high. So it's like that camera, they're up high with a down angle. And then the other one is down low, kind of straight on, because I found that having that one gives me a slightly better look of what I'm working on instead of always sort of over the shoulder. And also you'll notice all the cameras are on that side of the table. Again, that's kind of a editing choice. It's kind of a Hollywood choice. It's the 180 rule. You are the audience. You are joining me as I'm sitting here working on my project, and you're on that side of the table, and I'm on this side of the table. Also, all the lights are set up, so if I put a camera over here, I don't have any good lighting, right? But as far as narrative editing, storytelling, keep the audience on their side of the table, and it's just mentally easier to not lose track of where you are because most people are accustomed to sitting at a table across from their guest and talking back and forth. That's sort of what's going on here. At least that was always my plan. There's times I'll take my phone and I'll shoot something close with the drill press, or I'll shoot something close with the bandsaw, or I'll shoot with the sanders, right? Because these cameras aren't set up for those areas, but that's not a big deal. Taking away from the table isn't a big deal to me. That was never an issue, so I don't have a problem doing that. Any of this makes sense? Am I going too far? Hopefully, yes. I hope that she will recover from it and she's starting treatment. Definitely. I wish your mother a speedy recovery and speedy remission. Jerry Can't Cosplay recently got a pin on microphone and some soundproofing from my garage, but I can't seem to get the lighting right. Lighting is tricky. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few questions before I get going because this is a live stream. Lights have different frequencies of color, basically, or what do you want to call it? Temperature. Most of my lights are are in the warmer temperature. I actually like daylight temperature, but a lot of my lights are a bit warmer, and I've tried to set them to all be the same. So most of my cameras are set for 3700K. Warm light that you buy for your house is usually 3400, so it's a little yellower, a little warmer. Outside is like 63, but daylight when you purchase it in the store is usually 56K. So if you're having trouble getting your lighting right, either you don't have enough lights set up, right, and you're trying to figure that out, and that's a very specific in your space area. But if you're competing with weird colors, one of your lights may be 56K and one of your lights may be 34K or even 27. Some of the really warm, lower lighting LED lights are 27, which looks almost orange on camera. So that would be one thing to look at. And thankfully LED lights are easy enough anymore to be able to change that out. But what I've got going on is I have two 10-inch square LED lights. I got one here and one here that I can dial my temperature color to and dial my intensity to. And so both of those are set for 34 or 35, whatever they're set to, with an intensity that looked okay on screen. I've got a great big softbox over the camera you can't see, Jerry, that's got like 4-foot long LED lights in it, or they could even be, they might even still be fluorescent. I think they're LED now, though. They're one or the other. And that's got a big diffusion in front of it. Diffusion being like a milky white plastic that light goes through, but you can't see through. And that causes like a cloudy day to diffuse the light and kills a lot of shadows. So that's my main fill light. Directly overhead, I've got a shop light that is, again, about 4K, 4000 temperature, color temperature, right? So again, it's a little different. And that's just an LED shop light you can't adjust. So instead of trying to make it dimmer, I actually have 2 layers of aluminum window mesh that I've hung up over it, which is called a scrim. Doing that over a light reduces the amount of light coming out, so it dims the light. But if you electrically dim a light with a dimmer, it can change the color. So by putting a scrim over it, I'm not going to change my color, and I've got less light hitting the table, causing less glare. And now behind me, I have some other little LED lights that I just picked up at IKEA that are pointing at stuff behind me to keep the eye lit, to keep the Proton Pack lit. And I have one pointed at the back of my head to try and give me a little bit of a halo light to keep me separate from the background. That's my lights, right? Yeah, there's a little bit of spill from the shop lights over to the side because I'm not alone today. Shock Gremlin is here working on one of their own projects just off to the side of the camera, so there is a cryptid here in the shop. But there is a shop light over there that is always on. It's the motion sensitive light that I just have, so when I walk into the room, it turns on and I'm not in the dark. I just leave it on because it doesn't really affect the set much, but it is technically another light just like this one. So 3-point light setup. I got my main fill, got my side fill, my side fill. Then I have a work light. So those are the 3, right, when you're doing an interview. Then I have my work light. I have my backlight for my head. And then I have my other fill lights for making the set look kind of pretty behind me. Make sense? Does that help? So yeah, what have I got? 1, 2, 3. I'm seeing, well, there's 5 little lights back there, plus 4 here. So I got like 9 lights. It's almost all LED. It's almost all hooked up to one light switch over there. So when I turn on that one light switch, the whole set turns on. The exception is that light and the camera, which is hooked up to battery backup because of how often the power goes out. That way, during a live stream, the power goes out, the stream doesn't die. Hello, everyone. Will Connors is here. Okay, so lighting right. Good, we're there. Schultz Division is asking, what's the brand of cameras that I'm using, and is it a pricey setup? I'm actually using the same setup I set up in 2018. So no, because all this stuff's really old at this point. What I have are Z cameras. They're the E1. They're made by a company called Z Cam. So it's just Z, the letter hyphen CAM. And these are the first ones they made, which are kind of like oversized GoPros that take the micro 4/3 style lens. So M4-3, it's just a type of lens. It's the same lens that the Panasonic cameras take, right? As opposed to a Canon camera that takes a Canon lens, or a Sony camera that takes a Sony lens. And of course, Nikon takes their own lens because everybody wants to play in their own yard only. They don't want you to buy other parts. So when Zcam made their product, they decided to go with what Panasonic was using. And they also bought the Panasonic chipset. What that means is the chips that are in the camera that collect the light, that create the image, is the same chipset that's in the camera that I'm talking to right now, which is a Panasonic GH4. That's an older style camera, so they should be a bit cheaper to get a hold of on eBay or secondary market at this point, because there's a GH5, there even might be a GH6 now. The GH4 can do 4K, which I record in 4K, and it is still a micro 4/3 lens. Oh, and I've also got it set up going through a teleprompter, because that's just what I've been using, even though I haven't done teleprompting work in the studio in a while. It's just it reflects off of my tablet. It's a passive teleprompter. But it is like putting sunglasses in front of the camera, so I have to adjust the iris slightly for that camera to try and match the other ones a little bit. Anyway, so I've got a Panasonic GH4 as my main camera. I'm using a Sennheiser lavalier microphone. That's what I'm wearing right now. That's an older style broadcast quality microphone. Technically, I'm not sure if this is still FCC compliant because they changed frequencies here in America. So I should be okay. But when we're normally doing a live stream, I'm using the Rode little puck microphones. Those things are great, and you can plug in a lavalier microphone element into them. They're like $200. The new ones, actually, the wireless 2s, the one receiver can pick up 2 different transmitters, so you have 2 different microphones and 2 different people. And the microphones themselves, the body pack, records while you're going. And it's just a constant records. It records 8 hours worth of audio, and then it starts recording over itself like a security camera. So when you're done, you can just stop and download all the audio files for that particular day, because they're all time-stamped. And you have a backup in case you get interference with your wireless signal. So I've got 5 cameras. I've got a microphone that I typically wear that I got from Joe Gillis of the Rode that I bought. So no, I don't. Some expense starts coming in with. I've got tripods, right? I've got things to hang most of my cameras from the ceilings. So I've got a tripod here, and I got a tripod I'm talking to, and everything else is attached to a grid that's hanging from the ceiling, just so the work area has less stuff on the floor. Learned that while shooting at Zots, that there was too many tripods in a small space, and everything was getting tripped on. So does that help? Zcam, Panasonic GH4, everything's got the same chipset. All that is older equipment. If I was to upgrade, if I was to change all of my cameras, what would I get? I look at it on occasion, because these guys are end of life. They're on all the time, it seems. Every time I'm in here shooting, right, they're on, and they're on all day. So they've got a lot of hours on the lenses. They got a lot of hours re-recording onto micro SD cards. So what I'm looking at getting is the Insta360. It was one of the ones that I liked the look of. It records 6K. It's got some really good low light. I haven't done a lot of investigation on it, but that seemed to be about what I paid for these guys, because when I got all these, I got them for $200 a piece. And I think that one's still close to that, I think. I could be very wrong. But why would 6K be important versus 4K versus my YouTube video, which is only HD? A 6K image has, 6,000 pixels wide, whereas an HD image is only just over 1,000 pixels wide. So if I wanted to zoom in on my cameras, I can do that in post by... I would have to shrink the image down in order to show the whole table. But if I was to show it at 100%, you'd only see a little tiny square. So each pixel is 1-to-1, and you're only seeing a little square, effectively zooming in. So by having a 6K camera, I would be able, in post, to be able to zoom in and out without actually losing any resolution. So that is something I've been looking at doing. And then, much like a GoPro, that type of camera has a built-in lens, like a cell phone. It's infinitely in focus. It's just looks like it's going to be a little bit easier to use, but I'm not there yet. Otherwise, what I have, everything takes a lens. So every camera was $200 to buy the camera body. You can't get them anymore. I'm sorry. You can secondhand market, but I don't know what the prices are. So that's the camera body, and then I had to get a lens for every one of them. So every one of them has a lens that's another $100 to $200, and most of them are shorter pancake lenses. Like that guy is a double punch. This is a 14 millimeter lens. I think I can't read it from here, meaning it's only 14 millimeters from the sensor, so it gives a really wide image in a very short amount of time. Whereas this guy is a 52 millimeter lens, so it's a much tighter image from a short distance. It also has a much smaller depth of focus, right? So you get your focal plane, which is somewhere around here. And then as you back up, you can see the star starts to go out of focus in the center. And then you hit the focal plane, and then as you get closer to the camera, that star starts to blur out again. So there's just this little sweet spot. And that's kind of the way it is with most of these cameras that have lenses. You have your focal plane, and everything has to fall within that plane. So everything behind me is a little out of focus, everything in front of me is a little out of focus. But you start getting those action cameras and like a lot of cell phones, everything's in focus. So, convenience. Is this helping? I'm not doing lightsabers yet. We're just still playing with behind-the-scenes stuff. Dan Does Junk is saying he only has 2 main angles, but for videos I sometimes use my phone for a third, especially if I have to shoot outside of the shed. Exactly. Yeah, I've got a whole other tripod with a phone holder that I just walk around with. It's just, my phone has gotten, when I started this, my phone wasn't good enough. My phone has gotten to the point that, I could just shoot this with my phone if I wanted to. Jerry says, that totally helps. You're welcome, Jerry. If you're stuck with a particular light and the colors are wrong, and you can if you do a color, there's probably apps that can tell you what your color temperatures are. If your camera can auto white balance and tell you where it's white balanced to, and you go through and start doing individual lights, you might be able to figure out which ones are wrong. And you can buy colored gels from a stage place, meaning a place that sells lighting gels for theatrical stages. And you can get warming gels, and you can get cooling gels. So a warming gel is going to be orange, and a cooling gel is going to be blue. And depending on how much you want to change your light, you can actually balance your lights by using gels. And I used to do that in Zot's shed. I've got a big roll of warming gel that I had to put over a lot of the work lights, because at the time I could only get 56K shop lights that were LED, and they were all too bright and too white for the other lights that I had. So every one of them got this warming gel that brought everything back down to around the same temperature. And then you set the white balance in the camera, meaning you tell the camera that, okay, this part here is my hand, but this part here is white. And the camera says, okay, that's white, and adjusts all the colors to make it white, right? That's what white balance does, basically. Jerry says, I got the Rode microphone, very easy to use. Yes, it is. We actually use the Rode microphones at work. So yeah, they're very easy to use and very nice. And they've got a good range. Hola, mates. Mariah's here. Hello, Mariah. I'm still just babbling away about my setup and about how I shoot videos. I haven't even started the boffer yet, Mariah. We talked about it yesterday, but it's gonna. Schultz is loving the behind-the-scenes stuff. Sweet. Dan's got a Google FI ad. I don't know what a Google Fee ad is. Newspaper and bicycle ad. Hinting you to a side job, Schultz. Paperboy. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So, now, I'm going back to the whole idea of I'm by myself, I don't have a cameraman. I've got 5 cameras, and they're all going to record at the same time. The reason why I have all 5 cameras recording at the same time is since I'm the only one here, I can either be crafty and be Odin talking about my crafty stuff, or I can be a cameraman and be worrying about what the shots are. So I've got all my cameras set, I've got all my focal points set, and what I do is I'm going to walk around here in a second and turn all the cameras on. Once the cameras are on and rolling, I can forget about the cameras. Now I only have to be worried about whatever I'm doing is kind of over the green mat, and then it's in one of the shots. And I found that having multiple angles is important because how often meaty paw gets in the way, right? Like you're working on something and it's just hand and you can't see anything, so you just cut to something else and hey, now I had to move my hand, but now I can kind of see it while I'm working on it, right? Because you get a difference. So that's why I've got multiple angles too, is to help me be able to show what it is I'm working on. Oh, this isn't too much beyond this. I thought about making a video like this. What do you edit on, Odin? Adobe Premiere. It's what I'm used to using, so I find it really easy because that's what I've been using since I won Emmys using Adobe Premiere, so that's what I'm used to using. Technically speaking, I've been using Adobe Premiere, now not constantly to actually do real stuff, but the first time I used Adobe Premiere, it had the horse on the logo, on the label still, and it was like version 4, I think. We're up to version 22, so it's been a little while. Steve D says, just me today? Yes, Felicia's not able to make it today. So it's just me here hosting. Shop Gremlin is lurking. So if you hear something funny happening in the background, that's just the cryptid that I got here in the shop. But I'm the only one that's going to be on stream. Yes. Okay, behind the scenes is great content. Thank you, Mariah. Now, the other fun thing is doing all this. Yeah, I need to put the video out so you guys can compare the two, right? That might be fun, too. So, I think I've delayed long enough. We're almost to the going to make it public part. So, if we turn this on, I can do my intro and switch over to public, which is going to be a whole nother slew of delays. Part of the fun with having multiple cameras running is I get a time limit, right? So the size of the SD cards, I record an MP4. So I record 4K MP4. The codec MP4 has a higher compression rate than, say, MOV or ProRes, but I can record for more time. And since my content's only going on YouTube and not broadcast, I'm not worried about using MP4 as a codec. The difference being it's called keyframes. Much like animation, so, actual cell-drawn animation, every frame is drawn. So every frame is a keyframe because it shows what's going on. When you compress video for the internets, you'll take a keyframe and then the subsequent number of frames, and you can tell it how many you want it to do. You're only updating the pixels that change, basically. It's a little more complicated than that, but basically. And so I have my keyframe, every pixel's new, and then all the pixels that just change, and then about 15 frames later or 30 frames later, I get a new keyframe, and it refreshes and starts all over again. You can see that in some videos, especially with higher compressions, when something suddenly kind of changes in the background because it caught up that it wasn't. It was too subtle for the lens to pick up on while the changes were happening, and so the new keyframe comes in, and then something kind of like pixelates. That's a keyframe changeover. So MP4 isn't usually used for broadcast for much of those reasons. But for me, I'm able to get 2 hours and 20 minutes worth of recording time on all of my Z cameras using a 64 gigabyte SD card. The GH4 actually takes 128 gigabyte for the same amount of time. Well, it's 2 hours and 50 minutes for basically the same amount of time because it's encoding at a different rate, right? It's not compressed nearly as much. Sometimes I just put 128s and 256 in everything. That gives me 4 hours of recording time. But I don't have, those cards are at home with other content on it, so I'm using my 64s today. Behind the scenes, Odin? Yep. Sherry can cosplay? Yep, behind the scenes. Okay. So, got my microphone, I got my cameras, I've got my SD cards. At this point, you get to walk around and turn all the cameras on. So, usually have to punch them twice. Once it wakes them up from being asleep, and then recording. And recording. Then you step in front of your other camera. Recording. Recording. Trip over stuff. There it is. This camera doesn't beep, so I actually have to watch the screen, and I see the record light beeping, and I see my seconds counting up. Also, I don't wear headphones, so when I am recording by myself, I'm watching the screen on that one main camera to make sure that I can see my audio. I can see the lines bouncing and moving. So I've got 5 cameras recording now. They're all recording wild, which means they're not synced. Again, this is a broadcast term. When you have multi-cameras in a broadcast environment and they're all recording at the same time, they're all hooked up to a time-based generator or a time-based sync. So they're all changing over at the same frame and they're all recording at the same time. That way in the edit, you know where stuff falls and it's easy. This stuff is, they're just recording however they want to record. So what I need to do, and this is something I want to warn you guys at home, I'm about to clap. So if you got headphones in, beware. This is going to be however loud it is. I clap. And by clapping, when you look at your footage on a timeline on your editing software, you can see that spike. And that's why I'm trying to warn you. And I'll clap a couple of times because then I can adjust and within the same frame have the clap happen. Just because I clap, there's still 30 frames a second going through all the cameras, so I could be a little in the beginning of that 1/130th of a second frame, or a little towards the end of that 1/130th second of that frame. So as long as they're all falling within the same frame, they appear to be in sync, plus none of the other cameras have my mouth, right? So it's not a big deal if all the other cameras are a couple of frames off. The other weird thing is, at 2 hours long, these cameras drift. They're all doing their own thing, recording at their own internal clock, and they're all, acceptable within parameters of being, 29.97 frames per second. Thank you, NTSC. It's a camera codec or broadcast codec. For this is the way they just always wanted to do it, so this is the way these cameras are doing it. Even at 24 frames a second, which is more solid, you would still have camera drift, meaning that over an hour, that camera records a little faster than that camera, and that camera's a little slower, and you'll end up almost a second off. So as I move along and do my edit, I will resync individual shots, but I'm so close that's easy to do. It's just a weird thing that I have to do, and so if you're trying to do a multi-camera shoot, be aware of that. Okay, so I'm going to clap to give myself a point of syncing reference for all the cameras. So those of you with headphones, beware, going to clap. And I just need a few, and that gives me my starting point. And I do that every time I start the cameras, and sometimes I'll do it when I want to stop and talk, because I got used to doing it. So that's what I've got there. I'm recording. Do test recording to see how it all sounds. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I see that Shockroom is answering questions too. That's awesome. Appreciate that. So at this point, all cameras recording. I take a step back out of habit because... Hello, I'm Odin, and today I want to make a lightsaber. And so you start doing your thing, right? So is that what I want to do? Hello, I'm Odin, and today I want to make another lightsaber. Now I don't have my props ready because I was going to pull one out from behind the table, so I have to try this again. Yeah, it's weird. I got this like step up to the table thing that I started doing. This happened with early on with Neil. I don't know why. I started doing this as a muscle memory thing, so I still just do it. I don't know. Hello, I'm Odin, and today I want to make another lightsaber. Now, I have made some before, but the one I want to make today is going to be a boffer style lightsaber. See, there's some editing that would happen in there too, right? I'm happy with that? Kind of happy with that. Hello, I'm Odin, and today I'm going to make another lightsaber. Now, I shouldn't have paused that long, maybe. This is the fun part, right? Hello, I'm Odin, and today I'm going to make another lightsaber. But I'm not going to make this complicated lightsaber, as fun as it is. I want to make an easy one that you can make at home as well. I'm going to make a boffer lightsaber. So that at that point, the image would slide into the boffer lightsaber that doesn't exist, right? Because I haven't made it yet, showing what it is I'm going to be making. So I wanted to talk about these other ones a little bit. I can do all that later. Remember, clock's ticking. So a boffer sword or a boffer weapon is something that a lot of LARPing communities use to go out in the field and have medieval-style reenactments and medieval-style battles with each other. A boffer sword is made to be relatively safe. Now, it isn't perfectly safe, but it's a lot like a Nerf sword, where it's actually made from a flexible plastic PVC pipe. It's wrapped with foam, and then, depending on the rules that either you have for your house or for the groups that you're playing with, it's covered with duct tape or fabric or something else. I'm going to cover mine with duct tape, which is an old school SCA style of doing it. So I'm going to wrap a PVC pipe with insulation foam and duct tape. Keep in mind that depending on which LARPing community you want to play with, that may not be acceptable. Dago here, I know, wants to have even more padding and a cloth covering. And then... Dang it! I could always cut to that. Wow, it's really embarrassing that all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank on the one that Mariah does. Look at Shock Room and just smiles at me. I don't remember either. Or not saying it. Oh, damn it. What is it called? This is horrible because I know she's watching. It's great. Wow. I keep wanting to say Ardent Fin. Amp Guard. I knew it was an A. It's not Ardent Fin. Okay. Dago here wants to have more padding and fabric over it, and then, wow, Amp Guard. Apparently I need lunch already. No. I was really happy with that because I'm going to be able to cut with it. Yeah, I'll just have to find some behind the scenes. I can grab a Beyond Geek image of Dago here. Mariah, I might need a picture for Amp Guard. Can you send me one so I can cut to Amp Guard as a way of cutting through it? Besides, Mariah, you and Aaron can get your faces on one of my videos. So I need a picture, guys. Okay. So Dago here likes to use a fabric covering and a little more cushion on their swords. And Amp Guard as well has a little more loose rules, but they still prefer to have a fabric covering versus just duct tape. The main thing being the swords last longer, and it's duct tape can be kind of funky on the skin, but what I want to do is make a sword that anybody can go to a hardware store, pick up some supplies, and build it. So I'm going to use colored duct tape, foam, and a PVC pipe. And that's felt like it was really long, but I can probably cut that down. Yeah. So, PVC pipe in the United States comes in a 10-foot length. For a lightsaber, most of the blades are 32 inches, 36 inches. So I'm going to cut my 10-foot pipe into 40-inch chunks. I'm sorry for all my international friends, because that's just speaking gibberish to you. But 40 inches divides into 120 inches evenly, and 120 inches is 10 feet. So I can get 3 blades out of one piece of pipe by cutting it to 40 inches. And that'll give me pipe for both the handle and the blade itself. So let's figure out where my 40 inches are. I want to make sure that I'm on camera, and I am. I'm on 3 different angles with the tape. So here's 40 inches. And you'll see in the edit that all that happened in like 5 seconds instead of a minute. It's time to go live too. Perfect. So I've got my cut pipe. Here is the first safety thing that you're going to want to do regardless of what style of boffer weapon you're making. This is a sharp edge. It's not that sharp, right? Actually, I probably could cut myself. It's not that sharp. What I want to do is sand this down or file this down. I'm being offered a deburring tool. But I want to sand this down because it will cut away at the foam inside of your boffer and it'll reduce its playability life drastically. And you want to do it to both ends because even the end that you're holding, the pommel end, same thing. You don't want your pommel to be worn out. My habit would be to just use one of my sanders because that's what I've got. But if I want to make a video that anybody can do, sandpaper, because sandpaper is cheap and easy. Now we're going to go live. Public. Done. Playlist. Where's playlist at? Playlist. We'll add this to live streams. And do I have one for Star Wars? No, I don't. Other builds, Lego in style, inspired. Star Wars props. There we go. Put it in those 2. Done. Save. Although Star Wars props is possibly bad because it's a live stream and not a full prop. But anyway. Oh, I'm Odin, and I just went live. What does that mean to everybody who's already watching? Well, you know what's going on. So saying hello, I'm Odin is funky because it's not like people suddenly appeared. Yeah, so now, of course, I'll have to stop and talk a little bit again. So if any of you in the chat want to talk about what it is I'm doing, I'm not going to be offended because I'm the only one here. Well, where's Felicia? She couldn't make it. Honestly, I don't know. Go check her Instagram. Looks like she's having fun. I think she's on a vacation. Better. The fact that it's not square bothers me. Cheating. Trust me, we cheat all the time. Baking shows, they have a cake ready to go. They don't wait the hours for the cake to bake. They do it beforehand. I'm also going to sand the inside a little bit. And that's just sort of being, why not? I'm here. All right. So I got my 3/4 inch schedule 40. I know I didn't say that before. I'll wait for that to stop. Oh, I lost my chat. There we are. Ralph Morick. Hey, Ralph! Sorry. So glad I got a sander like that now. Nice, good. Okay. Sorry the sander was loud. So I've also sanded out the inside a little bit because the idea is part of the idea is having your pokey stick, right? If you've got a sword, you're going to want to stab with it. Well, so you're going to need to put extra padding on the end. So everything you can sand to reduce the amount of wear that the pipe is going to do inside of your padding, the longer your boffer weapon is going to last. And same thing with a pommel, because in sword and shield style fighting, right, in your full-on combat armor, not a energy blade, but a steel blade, the shield crashes. It's a legal move. So you don't want to, you want to make sure your pommel end has got a good punchy protection as well. So both ends get sanded, both ends get rounded. So I've now got myself a 40-inch blade, which is just over a meter. 40 inches, for those of you, is, yeah, it's a centimeter over 1 meter. So this amount of pipe will give me enough for a handle grip that I can hold on to at 8 to 10 inches long. At 10 inches, that would still give me 30 inches of hard blade, or 8 inches, I get 32 inches of hard blade with some padding at the end. For the padding, I'm just going to use insulation foam. This is easily, for me, it is easy to find at a hardware store. I've got some that isn't pre-split, which is going to be a little harder to put on, not super hard. You just have to slide the blade all the way in. And I've got some extra pieces, which is going to be important. And I do prefer the pipe insulation foam over, say, a pool noodle. Because a pool noodle, for one, doesn't have enough space inside. You can't even get a half-inch PVC pipe inside this little hole that I'm aware of. I haven't tried. But this is a much denser foam than this. So this is going to have a lot less give when you actually hit somebody with it. Of course, at the same time, you could just use a pool noodle and not have the pipe at all. And that'd be a pretty darn safe boffer weapon for really young children. Now, what I want to do, how long is this? It is 36 inches. Great. So this will be slightly less than my entire blade length. What I need to do is cap the end. And I can use almost anything to cap the end to help give it a pokey end, like I was talking about, a stabbing end. The easiest thing to do is just take another section. The ones I buy at least used to come in 4-packs. Hopefully they still do. I'm going to take another piece of this, I'm going to cut some off and shove it inside, and that way I have my pokey end, right? If the blade's going to be 36 and I want a grip that's going to be about 8, let's figure this out really quick. So we'll put the blade down to that. That means, yep, I'll get about 4 inches on the end, which is probably pretty good for most LARPing communities to have 4 inches of padding on the end for a pokey. That does mean that the end of your lightsaber over time is going to get bent. These things have a shelf life. They're good for the summer. Make another one next year, whatever. Trust me, it's it's what happens. If you actually go out and play with it, they get used up. So I got 4 inches of foam. It's not going to fit, so I'm just going to cut it. Probably in half will do it. Almost. I'm not adding any other tape or anything on this that might make it easier to push in. It's because I don't want to add more structure. I don't want to make it, I want this to be soft so when I hit somebody with it, it's not going to hurt. I want them to know they got hit because, I want to count it as a strike, but I don't want it to hurt anybody. So 4 inches might be too much. I'm starting to realize that. All right. I'm not going to be able to expect anyone else at my workshop to be able to do that. So let's say instead of 4 inches, we'll do it at that length, which I now can't measure. Where'd you go? Seven centimeters, or for those of us that are still living in caves, 2 inches, 2 3/4 inches. Mariah, let me know if 2 3/4 inches is still enough padding on the end. So I've got my end that's got full padding, right? The PVC pipe can't come any further out than that. So now I'm going to slip my blade over my support mechanism. So what I'm finding myself doing is I'm holding the end where the end of the pipe is inside of all the foam, right? Because I've got a lot of friction going on here, so it's not just going to slide right in. So I've got it up here, and I'm twisting it a little bit, and then I'm working the rest of it down to reduce the tension on it, and then push it up again. There, now I'm at the end. So I'm pushing my end out. That's not what I want to do. Well, at least I know I'm at the end. There. Now that isn't a full amount of handle that I want, and that's okay because part of this is still going to be part of the blade, and I can always cut this down. But I've still got, I've got a 36-inch blade, got a bit of a handle here. It could stand to be a little longer. So I'm actually, I'm going to cut it down. Good. This means one piece can do one blade. So if I take 3 inches off the end of this, then that can become the padding up here. I'm talking myself through this, so I know how to do it later, right? By the way, everyone who just joined, I am rehearsing and recording a demonstration that I'm going to be doing on May the 4th in the city of Rancho Cordova for their May the 4th esports celebration. And I get to do this once to make sure I can do it better next time. So if by setting up to have multiple people do a lightsaber build live with me at this workshop, utilizing parts, if we just cut 3 inches off the bottom of the foam that comes out of the package and move it to become the plug at the end, then that should work out fine. I know I kind of said that twice, but I'm figuring this out and making it up as I go, which is what I do all the time. So that becomes the bit in the end. And if we were to cut it in half, you would end up with this amount. And that's, I could actually cut more too, but hey, I got water. A live blooper reel, 100%. Schultz? Yeah, nothing but bloopers. That's what it is. Oh, Dan, I'd love it if you come out to the May the 4th in Rancho. Absolutely. You can bring your Gundam because it's not specifically Star Wars. I'm going to have Mechagodzilla. I'm going to have a small booth set up. I'll be doing the demonstration. I think they got me blocked out for an hour and a half to do the demonstration so people have enough time to build the whole thing. Eric, I hope give me a whole bunch of pink hands. If you can make it out, that'd be great. I'll be out there. Shop Gremlin will be out there. Felicia's planning on coming out there with one of, or possibly both, of her Leia cosplays because she just got done making the celebration dress. I don't think she did the Tantive 4 Escape from the Compactor dress. I think she did the celebration dress at the end. I think. It's horrible because I didn't watch her video. I probably should have. Okay. Now that's a more good amount of, 3 inches off the end is good. Okay. So, first artistic choice. What color blade? I want to use duct tape. I want to use duct tape because it's cheap. I want to use duct tape because it's easy to get a hold of. And once it's on, it's painted and good to go. Thankfully, Justin? Brain fart. I want to use duct tape. thankfully, Justin at... Was it Justin? All of a sudden I got sudden... And now I got a train, so I'll wait for the train. Live blooper reel. Jerry, Dan, all you guys are aspiring to make videos and be a host and whatever else. What you see is the edited version. It can take a while to get stuff to come out of your mouth. It's never as simple as it appears to be when you're watching an edited video. I'm doing interviews with people who speak for a living, and they take multiple tries in order to get an answer in a way that they're happy with. It's just a way of life. So don't ever be hard on yourself. If you need to start over, know that you're recording and you can fix it and edit. You're never doing it live on the internet where anyone's going to see it, where it's going to be saved forever, where people can make fun of you in the future. None of you are actually doing that. I never do that. So it's not a big deal to go back and change stuff in the edit later. Oh, cool. Daniel and I is going to make better foam shields for Medieval Mario Brothers. I do shit handles of PVC now. Is that what it says? Yeah. Oh, shield. Shield! I had a emoji over it. I couldn't read it. I do shit handles. Works too. Do shield handles out of PVC. There's nothing wrong with PVC handles. And Dan admits he does countless takes as well. Okay, so now we get to make the first artistic choice. What color blade am I going to do? Now, what I'm going to use is colored duct tape, and I've got lots of different colored rolls. I like colored duct tape because it's easy to get a hold of. Hardware stores have it, art stores have it, craft stores have it. You can order it easily online. But duct tape's great because it's going to protect the foam to make the blade last a little bit longer, and once the tape is on, it's colored, and you got it good. So Justin, the store manager at the Sacramento Blick here in Sacramento, Blick Art Materials on Howe Avenue, actually is sponsoring the workshop, not the video, the workshop by donating tape, which is awesome. So I've got a big bag. Here it is. Of colored duct tapes that I can use for blades. So I get a choice. I've got green tape, so I got a green blade. I've got some Sith red. This is the light blue, so I've got this aqua blue. It's not quite the normal Jedi blue. And then for the grips, for the hilts of the blades, he gave me some silver shiny duct tape. So I got a couple rolls of silver. I've got 3 rolls of silver. I've got 4 rolls of silver. I've got some gold metallic duct tape as well because gold accents. And then black duct tape. Yeah, somebody might want to make a dark saber, so fine, use black. But the intent here was to have some black on the hilt to add some more texture and colors to it. So that's got 20 yards. That's got 15 yards. That's got 20 yards. I'm hearing a sigh because I'm going to make another blue blade. So I'll make a Sith boffer sword to go along with all my other freaking blue sabers that I've made. Behind the scenes, I am actually making another Sith saber. So in the past, I've made a light up Lego style lightsaber. This is all to scale to my giant size Lego figures. It's got tape on it because the electronics died at Silicon a couple years ago now. But I'm going to be making a new one because I'm making a giant size Lego Star Wars Lego figure, giant size Lego minifig. There's the words I'm looking for. So I'm going to need to make a lightsaber for him. And for the blade, I'm actually going to just use, this is for the Lego, right? This won't work for a boffer. This is one of the colored gels or the colored things you just put over an old fluorescent light. Tap Plastic still sells them, and look, it fits. So I'm going to be able to cut this off, laser cut some acrylic ends on it, and have a nice red Sith blade for my Lego Lego minifig dudes. But today, because Jacques Kremen requested it, I'm going to make a Sith blade. Why was I going to use the other tapes? It's trying to make sure that I had enough tape for everyone else actually at the workshop to make the colors they want. And I assume that red will be very popular. I might go back to Blick and actually grab more tape. He told me I could. Doing math, and I don't have any way of making sure of this, doing the math of how many times it would take to wrap around the pipe, it should take about 10 feet, maybe 12 feet of tape to just cover the blade. And it's going to take a minute or two. But that meant that at, 20 yards, 10 feet is going to give me about six blades. Again, I apologize for all of you people who don't live in caves and still count on your fingers for how far things are. But it's just the measuring system we have here, so it works out that that's about what it is. First thing I want to do is take some lengths of tape and cap the end. Make sure that I'm going to start with where the split is. The pipe, I'm going to start with the split is. The insulation pipe is pre-cut, so when you're installing it in your house, you can just fit it over the pipe. I didn't want to cut it, but it is, the padding inside is stressing it, making it open it up. So I'm going to squeeze that back together, and I'm going to put tape over that split. That's a little too much. And then I'm going to wrap over the end protect the end, and I'll do it at least one more time. This get lots of tape noise in this video. This is the one thing I'm concerned about with the workshop, is giving people enough time to actually wrap everything. I mean, it's easy to do, but this is going to be time consuming. One of the fun things I get to do is separate the tape, so I'm going to have to make each of these into smaller rolls of tape by rolling them up onto PVC pipe or something else. So one person isn't doing the red tape while 4 other people are waiting, because we'll never have enough time. Okay, so I've just got a crisscross over the end. So I got the end pretty well captured. I could do better, but that's actually acceptable because I'm just making a backyard boffer. I'm not going to try and fight any LARPing wars with this. So now I'm just going to this is where the magic of editing comes in. Start wrapping the tape. Now, even with me doing it now, I'm seeing that I'm getting some overlap, which is good, but that just means it's going to take more tape. So yeah, I need to go back to Blick and ask Justin if I can have a couple more rolls of colored tape, just so I have enough for everybody. So it's not so bad to have more in the end too. The end of your boffer sword is going to take more abuse than anywhere else. So a little extra heavy tape wrap on the end is not a problem. Sorry for the microphone and the duct tape noise, guys, but that's part of the joy of getting to see this live. As I'm working my way down, I'm getting to have less and less overlap. So I'm pulling the tape out, but I'm not crushing the foam as I'm wrapping the tape around. I'm just trying to make the tape stick to it. If I squeeze the foam with the tape, right, I'm reducing the amount of padding, and it'll make it a harder hitting weapon. Now, apparently AmpGuard approves of that. As long as your weapons marshal says, yeah, you can use that, then yeah, you can go out and use that. But generally speaking, do your best to not crush your padding while you're wrapping it. That way your blade is, softer. More fun for your opponent. Because remember, this is a game. You're not actually trying to hurt anyone. Or a toy, whichever way you want to look at it. Squeezed it. Now, a smart man would have weighed the tape and then wrapped the blade and then weighed the tape again to see how much tape it took. That's what a smart man would do. Okay, I'm down to the end, and I'm still going to wrap around a little bit. And then I'm going to cut the tape. Yes, I'm going to have to take multiple pairs of scissors with me. Because what I want to do is make sure that my duct tape goes beyond the foam. Hopefully you can see in there and see that I've got about an inch or 25 millimeters of tape beyond my insulation foam. That way I can mash the tape down, and right now I'm okay with just mashing it, and make it have contact with the pipe. You saw how much friction there was with putting the blade on, putting the foam on over the PVC pipe. But as you play with this, the foam's going to break down, and it could actually slide off. When you're swinging it, the blade could slide off. I'm sure war stories will tell you about such things happening. So I want to make sure that I've got a positive connection between my blade foam and the pipe, which is going to be the grip and the handle itself, right? So I've got a little bit of tape here, and now I'll give it a single wrap. And this time I will do it tightly, just so my foam doesn't come off the PVC, because that's game off, and that sucks. Have I seen it happen? No, I don't think I have, but I've heard of it happening. Okay, so now I'm done with my red tape, or my blue tape, or my green tape. I've got a blade. Realistically, that's it. You're good to go. Except that this artistically isn't exciting at all, and that's not safe. So what we want to do now is take a secondary piece of the insulation foam and put it on here, but not just slide it on like the blade. I mean, ultimately I'm going to do that, but this is where you get to be artsy. This is where you get to cut and move and play with what you're doing down here, because the hilt is the personality of your lightsaber, right? When you collect lightsabers, when you watch the movies, or when you're at a Star Wars experience purchasing yourself a lightsaber, or a con if you're getting another type of like combat lightsaber, the hilt is where all the selections are. The hilt is what differentiates Luke's saber from his dad's saber, from Dooku's saber. Not just the blade color, but the actual look of the hilt. So we get to do that. Now, I'm not going to try and copy anyone specifically, because I don't want to. I'm just going to add some stuff to it. But what I do want to do is put a section on, leave a section of just the PVC pipe, because like Luke's Jedi saber, it's got that really tight neck, and then put padding back out at the bottom where I'm going to be able to grip it. So what I need to do is get myself where'd my stuff go? It fell. There it is. So I have a secondary piece. So this is, again, I have to think I'm doing a workshop. So if I have a piece and I cut it into 1 foot sections, can I work with a 1 foot section to do something? That way everyone gets a 1 foot section. Oh yeah, that's plenty. Yeah, okay. I can make enough out of that. So yeah, if you wanted to, there you are. Wrap that with duct tape, just classic gray duct tape. Whatever, you're good, right? Done. It's a lightsaber. Great part about lightsabers versus a medieval sword, there's no striking edge, right? You don't have to take electrical tape, which I have some somewhere. You don't have to take electrical tape and run it down and around and back, so you know what is your cutting edge versus what is your flat side, because you got to hit with a cutting edge with a bladed weapon, or else you're just slapping. With a lightsaber, 360 degrees is a cutting edge, so you're good to go. You don't need that. But I could use this for decoration purposes. Did I go through that too quick? I hope not. Yep, J period. Weigh the roll you use compared to the unused roll. Yep, that's what I should have done. Dan Does Junk is, yeah, that is actually what I did beforehand. When I was trying to do a cost analysis of doing this workshop and how much material I was going to need, I did the math on the diameter of the insulation foam piece versus the circumference, and then the width of the tape with some wiggle room to try and figure out how many wraps it was going to take. That napkin math got me to the 10-foot mark. So this should have been, and look the way I did, it's probably more like 12 feet. I could weigh two tapes that have the same amount under the assumption that the tapes are manufactured so with such close tolerance that it's going to be, even though they're different. So let's take the packaging off so I don't get a false reading, right? But this was a 20-yard roll. This was a 20-yard roll. On, other on. Okay. Doesn't really matter. So I've got 247 grams as a full roll of, brand new roll of duct tape versus 164 grams. So I used 247 to 164. Anyone want to do math for that? That means I'm going to get about 3 blades per roll, right? Because if I'm going from 247 to 164, that's 90 grams. So 247, yeah, I'll be lucky to get three blades out of one roll of colored tape. I need to go get more tape from Blick. Okay, hilt. I don't want this basic of a hilt, which is okay. That's not a big deal. What I do want to do is, everyone's going to have scissors. I probably should use scissors. I'm going to cut a little bit. How do I want to do this? I don't want it to be too big. I want it smaller than that. I get to be artsy. No, actually I'm okay. It doesn't matter. Because I can cover that with tape anyway. So this is fine. Alright. So I got this, and I have a little bit left over from, where's my leftover? Here's my leftover from the pokey end. Where's the seam? There's the seam. No, that's not enough. Well, nuts. Okay. I want that. Yes, it's going to end up looking a lot like a Lego lightsaber. It's just the nature of the foam I'm using. Okay, silver. More at the end. The AC is moving on the phone. So I'm going to move that up a little bit. I am losing some blade, but I'm not worried about that. Now this is just sort of a cross-guard looking piece. It's just, an artsy thing. I keep saying that, but that means this. I'm not worried about the padding on this portion for combat use, for rules. This is just the aesthetics of the blade, right? So it's not as critical. I mean, it is, but it's not. So I'm going to lay this out flat. I'm going to snip the end square because I didn't quite have enough. There we go, that'll work. And now this time I am going to crush it, because I need to crush it to make sure that I get all my little foam pieces to meet up. There we go. What I want to do, I'll have to put more on there because I'll have to put more on here because I'm not getting enough to connect to the rest, which doesn't make me happy. That's okay. I'm going to snip so I can reduce the amount of wrinkling. One of the things I'm planning on doing with actually doing this as a workshop is not necessarily do it live in front of them, although I suppose I probably should. If I have this media and a presentation, I can kind of talk through it. Maybe like start how to do it. But the problem is, if I'm in a room full of people, how well can everyone see, right? So I'm just going to end up showing this is sort of the plan, and then helping those who need help with an actual hands-on demonstration. So if you want to see a hands-on, in-person live demonstration of this lightsaber build, then hopefully you're available to come out to the city of Rancho Cordova. But honestly, if you guys are interested, I can always, this is stuff I can pick up locally at other cons, and I can do this at like Creators Con, or I can do this in other places in the future. And made lightsabers many times. We were waiting in line for Star Wars Episode 1 way back in 1999, and everyone kept buying the toy lightsabers you get off the shelf, right? Because lightsabers came out. And so they go out, buy this brand new lightsaber, play with it, have a battle there waiting in line, and break the toy, like immediately. And everyone was quite disappointed. Of course, the toy was made to be a toy. It was made for that, sort of, but not to the level of combat that all the excited people in line were doing. So that was not the first time that I went out and made the boffer lightsabers. I actually did that many years before with friends at the SCA just for the fun of it. But that was the first time I tried to do a demonstration for other people. It's like, hey, build it like this, and your stuff will last better. And I know of at least one, if not two, different documentaries about that wait in line in Star Wars, where those lightsabers are on the cover of the DVD. Yeah, DVD, physical media. So there's my upper shield. What I want to do is continue the silver to wrap all three of these layers, and then I will put another grippy piece on the bottom. Grippy meaning the place where I'm going to put my hands, right? And I am trying to be, put a cut in it. I am trying to be somewhat careful with how I'm wrapping this. Again, not necessarily to keep from crushing the foam, because at this point, not that much of a concern. More to not to crush the foam for the aesthetics of it, to try and keep the diameters of everything being consistent. So that was a really lucky guess. That was exactly the right amount. Now I'm going to cut it again so I can have these little flaps to be able to go down the step that I'm going to need to go from the crossguard emitter. This is fiddly. Hands in the way. There we are. Now, another reason I was talking to the people who were setting up this event in Rancho Cordova, we talked about making just other swords using, knives and glue, but in a small confined area with a whole bunch of people, yeah, that's a lot of fumes, and that's not 100% age friendly for everyone, right? Doing this, sure, someone young still might need help getting it done, but there's nothing tremendously toxic here. So that's a big reason why I said, hey, let's do lightsabers, because that's going to be more themed for May the 4th, and it's something that they can do again from stuff you can buy from a hardware store. fact that Blickhead metallic silver tape was cool. I'm so used to doing this with just gray, classic gray duct tape, not the silver stuff, you know. Here it is. This stuff, this is what I'm used to having. So the metallic stuff is cool. So I've got the tape. About half the tape is wrapped around what would be the crossguard. And then the other half I am mashing up underneath the shelf here. And then attaching to the blade, which is now going to become part of the hilt again, right? Because whatever, as long as I change the color, it looks fine. Yeah, and I'm a badass. I can hold on to a lightsaber with my bare hand. So I got my first layer. Now I'm going to do it again, because, you know, it's fun. But what I want to do is take myself a length of tape. And wrap it at the lower level. Covering up all those individual flaps. Now I'm going to go through and cut the tape so I can mash it down again. And each time I do a layer change, a level change, like, right, I'm changing the diameter of my my foam on the PVC pipe. I'm going to want to cut flaps into tape and make sure that it is attached to the next lower level, because you don't want any of this stuff coming off when you're actually playing with it. So, got the tape sticking to itself. Something I'm laughing at, thinking about. I am currently doing a demonstration completely off the cuff, live to, you know, friends and other people worldwide. And I have more people watching me do this now, live, during this live stream, than I'll have in the room with me in Rancho Cordova. I'm going to have so much stage fright in the room in Rancho Cordova, at least when I start. It's ridiculous that I don't care right now. Okay. So now I've got my triple step, right? I got the blade diameter, because this is actually a piece of the blade. You see I've still got blade tape here, right? So I got my blade diameter. I have my decorative extra bits that I all shoved on the end here to be, you know, the emitter bell. And then I have another step down to the choke point, because I really like that in Luke's Jedi lightsaber, Return of the Jedi lightsaber. So I've got that on there. Now I'm going to have the portion that's going to be my grip, and that can go on right up. And I want to keep this lower level exposed. So I'm going to put this on a little bit. And the thing we got to think about is making sure that this end, your helmet smashing, your shield smashing end, is also padded like we did to the top. So actually it looks like that's fine. That's about, this doesn't have to be as much as the other one, but honestly that's still a good, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So I should, do I have any? No, I don't. Okay. I'm talking through this, by the way. So I'm realizing that just 12 inches worth of foam per person isn't going to be enough. I'm going to have to cut those to a different level in order to share the foam with everyone, to make sure everyone has enough to make the style of blade that they might want to make up, but still have enough material that they can keep it safe. So also I did this out of order. Probably would have been better to do the handle first, but it's okay. it made sense to me to keep working my way down. How deep is this? Oh, whatever. So if I give everyone more, it'll be fine. Just do, it's cheap. They were 36 inches, right? So if I give everyone half, that's 18 inches, that's plenty to work with. So we'll do that. We'll make sure everyone gets one full stick of insulation foam for the blade, and then half a stick of insulation foam for the hilt. That'll work fine. I'm looking for my tape measure. Doesn't fit. A high-tech tape measure. Close enough. 54 millimeters or 2 inches. Yep, 2 inches is great. Okay. So let's cut this to be 2 inches. I see questions flying by in the comments. Sorry I'm not interacting with the comments at the moment. I will. But I know that Shock Gremlin is watching and they may answer some questions. Dan Does Junk is watching and he may answer some questions. So my apologies if I'm not directly answering your questions, but know that I've got plenty of qualified and people who I trust here in the chat to help you. Yeah, 2 inches shoves and they're much easier than there we go. Okay. That's a decent length too. Okay. Now I'm just going to wrap the whole thing in silver. We will put artsy stuff over it later. So I'm going to start again with, I've got my foam. I take my tape and try and put it about halfway on the foam, and a little less than halfway on the foam. That way I can cut it and have it attached to the pipe for exactly the same reason as I did it on the blade. I want to make sure that the piece I'm gripping here doesn't slip off the pipe, because again, that's just not fun. A lightsaber is not a ranged weapon. We don't need to be having parts fly off. So how many workshops have you done in the past, Odin? Almost none. I think this is the first real hardcore, going to be trying to do it with other people working along with me type workshop versus show and tell. I've done a few show and tell workshops, but I haven't done one where I've got materials for everyone else to do it too. I tried doing it once at a con in Dallas. There's only like 6 people that played along, which is fine, but what's great is when I go into Blake to talk to Justin about getting more tape, I'll have a finished blade I can bring him. This is what we're doing. Okay, so now I've got my my choke down point. It's a little lumpy because it's tape, but you know, it's tape. And now I'm going to cover the rest with silver. This one you could crush if you wanted to. I was talking earlier about not putting the tape on too tight around the blade because you want to have the blade as soft as it can be for striking other people. But since this is just for me to grip, you could crush it if you want to. I don't, but you could. Getting wrinkles, which, you know, it's going to happen. You know what I forgot to do? Put the plus over the end first. Because I want to make sure you capture all the wild edges. So let's do that now. What's funny is one of you in the chat probably told me that. Odin, you forgot to wrap the end. Yeah, I did. If you want to be really fancy, you could put like half a racquetball on here or something, but I'm not going to. I wonder, would it be better? So what I'm doing is I'm taking off a strip of tape. It's about 4 inches, however much that relates into real world units, and then cutting it in half. So I'm just, the thickness of the tape, I'm cutting it in half-ish as I fight with it, in order to wrap the end in a way that is a little more possibly artistically pleasing. Basically, I'm hoping to have less wrinkles as I tear it. Tearing is fine too, but cutting it, you get such a nicer edge. Yeah, that's looking better. Piss off, tape. There we are. So now I've got the end covered, which is what I should have done to begin with. And now I can finish wrapping this with silver tape. Now again, good enough. Now I've got a full blade. Everything's covered in tape. I've got a red blade. I've got a metallic hilt. I'm good to go. I can go in the backyard and beat the kids. But don't beat your kids. Just go play lightsabers with them. So I can go in the backyard and have fun. But personality. We want to add stuff to the hilt, right? So I know that I want to put some gold tape here to make this a slightly different color. I can put a couple of wraps of black tape on it just to give it some rings. And I've got a few little fiddly parts left. Putting another ring like this on the end would work, but really make it look like a Lego lightsaber. So I might just have a couple of lumps attached. Can I do that? Probably can. The fun thing with doing lumps is it's a lot of cutting and a lot of fiddly, right? So I'm doing you put a piece of tape on, you snip the ends, you mash it down. You put a piece of tape on, you snip the ends. I'll have to do that for each of these parts. And then put a wrap around the fiddly ends because those little tails will peel up. So you want to wrap around those. It was also my intent and my thought to bring some pieces of craft foam or the shit you stand on. Floor mat foam, for the same reason, to be able to add some different layers and pieces. But I think for mine, especially right now, I want to only use the insulation pipe because I'm not set up for the other stuff. And just wanted to limit myself. You know, what can I do with only 3 ingredients? So are there other benefits to having bumps and lumps and things on the end? Yeah, actually there is. Having anything at the end towards the bottom of the blade like this is going to be like a stop for your hand. It's going to be a point where as I have a hold of it and I go to do a swing, I've got something to help let me know in a tactile way that I've made it to the end of my hilt. I can't go any further down, right? It's a way of catching it if you happen to start loosening your grip. Because again, a lightsaber is not a ranged weapon. So I got one lump, two. Then I'll put another little square box up towards the front because you want to have your switch emitter, right? But I'm going to put that really high because I want to have as much of a plain, consistent area for my grip as I can. It's just going to be more comfortable. All right. I'm doing this wrong. Let's take this piece instead. There we go. That's better. I want the opposite of that part. So I got two different things going on. Okay. So I'm just going to tape this on. Same way. Take a piece of tape, stick it down. I'm not going to be too worried about I am worried about it. I don't want to mash it too much because I want it to be dimensional. I want it to have stuff going on. Then I'm going to take some black tape and some gold tape and put some other colors on it. But this is the last dimensional piece I'm going to stick on. Audio check? Good. I still have audio. My mic is still recording. My mic is still broadcasting. What is it that's doing? It's still, hearing me prattle on, hearing me babble. There we are. Yep, there we go. This colored duct tape isn't quite as sticky as actual duct tape, but whatever. It still works. Okay. Set that aside. Is that going to be just wide enough all on its own? I think it is. A little bit helped tape the tails off the front of this down. I'll help tape the tails on the back of it down, which I don't know if I've done to the other end yet. I'm going to peel off enough to actually go all the way around, I hope. Yeah, I'm going to do that to this end still too. So this wrap helped the tails that come over this, that flaps out here, that's holding it down. Yeah. I want to do that up here. I still have all these tails that are still on top of the other tape. I'm going to put a wrap around it and put a wrap around here to hold all that flappy bit down. I don't need to use silver here. I'm going to use a different color. Okay. I'm going to put black at the end. And I'm going to stick with duct tape just because I want to. You can use electrical tape. You can use colored gaff tape. You can use paper tape. It'll just break. But I'm going to stick with duct tape because that's what I've got, and that's kind of the recipe that I wanted to work with. I was lucky it landed sticky set up. Okay. Have some black. I'm going to put more on. I suppose I still can right now. Why not? Just do it now. What I want to do is lay this on my cutting mat and cut it with a blade because that's an easy way to do it and the way I'm used to doing it. I'm not going to have these items available to me when I do this as a workshop, so I'm sticking to scissors. So is the tape. The tape is also sticking to scissors. Wow. That's exactly what's going on. Come on, cut. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to do 3 because I don't want to spend the time on doing more. So cut that into thirds. That's fine. Really is fine. So got that. Got the gold. How many rolls of duct tape can you open up? All of them. I'm going to just look at it and eyeball about how much gold I need to take off of this piece so I can wrap it in that tiny waist, the end where the emitter starts. One of the fun things with cutting a lot of duct tape with scissors is your scissors get gooey, which makes delicate cuts kind of hard to do. Acetone will take the tape goo off of your scissors, but I'm not going to be able to take acetone with me, so I'll just make sure all the scissors are pretty clean when I start. Well, I kind of missed. Nuts. Ooh, am I starting over? Oh, I might be starting over. I guessed wrong. I see the chat moving. Sorry I'm not interacting with it much. It'll be done probably pretty quick. It's duct tape, so it's not a metal blade. It's duct tape, so of course it's going to be, you know, a little wrinkly. Well, now I'm going to take a couple pieces of this. Oops. Cut that in half again, a little square. Put a little square down here. There we go. And then I take my other piece of gold and just stick it here. Almost makes it around. There we go. Now, I could keep going, right? I could keep fiddling with this. I can put more tape on it. I can put more craft foam on it. I could put LEDs on it because the hilt is pretty okay. This is where your hands are going to go, so it's okay that this isn't necessarily a striking surface, so you can have other stuff going on. But I like the idea of 3 ingredients. I've got a PVC pipe, I've got PVC pipe insulation foam, and I have colored duct tape. And I've got my 3 ingredient lightsaber. So I've got some things going on. Actually, I'm not sold on this gold down here. I had leftover tape. It's like, I'll use it. I don't like it. So it's easy enough to unpaint. Okay. Painting is usually not that easy to unpaint. I could take a bit of silver and clean that up. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, it wasn't quite long enough, but good enough. That actually cleaned up some of the fiddly seams that were down here. Alrighty. Of course it's not. It is, but it's not. Hey, it's duct tape. Peels off itself. I got wrinkles in it now. Didn't before, but all right. It's going to get wrinkly when it gets used anyway. I was going to drop it. I can feel where the slit is for sawing. All right. Time check. How long has the camera's been rolling? Oh, that's good. So in an hour and 20 minutes, with trying to do an intro, with trying to talk to the camera, which slows you down, I was able to make a lightsaber. So it's probably a pretty good bet that it'll take about an hour and 20 to do it live with an audience, which I did, but I meant in person, right, at an event. But there we are. Yeah, I've got a lightsaber. I'm not upset with this. Is this going to last forever? No. Absolutely not. This is not a family heirloom. This is not something I'm going to be handing down to my Padawan when he grows up, because it's not going to last the summer. But that's okay, because we can make another one next year. So keep that in mind, that you're making a boffer lightsaber as a toy that you're going to use. You pretty much want to make a pair. Trust me, I did this in the past with other friends and other kids. You go to a park wearing trench coats and robes, and you start having a lightsaber battle around the swing sets and the play structures. It's a blast. So highly recommend doing it. A single piece of PVC pipe is going to give you enough materials to do 3 blades. 1 pack of the insulation is not. They'll give you enough to do 2.5, because it'll take 3 sections, full sections, to do 3 blades, and then you want 3 halves to do at least the way I did it. You can fiddle with it and do it however you want. The end result, I've got a lightsaber. That is actually longer than the combat lightsaber I made for Beyond Geek. Cool. So maybe you do have enough. Maybe you make the blades a little shorter. I had a tape measure. Thank you, Cheese, for the tape measure. And I have a 31-inch blade. Okay. My hilt is 13 inches long. But it's a good 2-handed hilt. Now, I know there's going to be lots of different ways that you can make a boffer weapon, and lots of different ways that you can make a lightsaber. But this is how Odin makes. Is that too quick? That might be too quick. I'm looking forward to running around in a park and beating up some Padawans. Where's the Padawans? Anyway, I know there's going to be lots of different ways you can make a combat-ready lightsaber, right? There's all sorts of ways you can do it. But to do an easy, backyard, family-friendly version, this is how Odin makes. Trust me, I'll do my outro like 5 times normally. When you shoot the clip that shows the finished saber, it'd be cool to prop it up with the rolls of duct tape. Yes, it would, Dan. Duct tape would be good for my cardboard masks. I don't know where it is. I don't know where your thing is. He said the thing! Yes, it did! Dan Does Junk says it looks great on camera. Thank you! You could just cut the tape from the middle and let them overlap a bit. No need for guesstimate. Oh, yeah, okay. Boo. Oh, bro, I thought it was a boo. Death with the little white fuzzy doggy picon or thumbnail. I literally read it as boo. I thought you weren't coming back. But no. It's way more positive than that. Death is saying, bro, I didn't think you were coming back. Yep, I'm doing my best to come back. It's been a heck of a year, and this is going to be edited into a video, and I want to have it ready for May the 4th. So I know there's going to be lots of different ways you can make a boffer lightsaber from duct tape, but this is how Odin makes. Yeah, honestly, I'll sit there and freeze like that because you have to have time for your graphics to go by. It's a weird thing to do, and it's really hard to explain that to someone else when you're trying to do an interview. It's like, no, you can't just answer the question and look away. You got to answer the question, maintain eye contact with the camera, and then you can look away because otherwise it's too hard to cut. So, keep in mind that, there's going to be lots of different ways that Jerry can cosplay, can make a sword, but this is how Jerry makes. And you want to keep your eyes with the camera, because then you get a chance for your graphics to fly in. Anyway, yeah. This is going to make the rounds with me for a little while with cons. I'll have this with me at Stockton Con when I go there in July. I'm going to have it with me for the May the 4th event in the city of Rancho Cordova. Be the first place this appears in person. I may or may not be going to SAC Toy Con this weekend. It's the upcoming weekend at the Scottish Rite Temple. I have interest in going, but I also have interest in having a weekend off. So while part of me is like, yeah, I'm going to go, there's this other part of me is like, dude, sit on the couch. So one of those will happen. But I won't be taking this to that because I want to keep it perfect for the event that I actually made it for. So it'll appear at cons for a while until it starts to wear out, and it will. And you're not stuck to just lightsabers. If you look in my play history, if you look back in the videos that I've made years ago, I made a keyblade this exact same way. I used floor mat foam to make the head of the key. I used floor mat or camping foam for the teeth of the key out here. Wrapped it all with different colors of duct tape. The yellow tape sucked. But it worked, and I had a boffer keyblade. And I was talking about running around with kids playing in the park. We had lightsabers briefly, and then we started making keyblades and started to have boffer battles with keyblades in the park. So we had the Mickey blade. I made just made one up, right? So made one that was out of a bunch of fluorescent colors I had, so it was a flaming blade. And another one, I think it was black or something else. I don't remember the third one right now. But I know we made 3 blades. And yeah, it's fun. Highly recommend it. And then, of course, if you can jump in with any LARPing communities, I know Mariah and Hire for Hire are still here in the chat. At least they should be. They do Amp Guard in the Stockton area. They'd love to have you come out, especially if you show up, find them, and say, "Yeah, Odin sent me." Oh God, you're going to be friends. So. Hook up with LARPing groups. Hook up with the SCA if you want to find other people who go out and do this. 500 people strong in the field. Seriously, that happens. So it can be a lot of fun. But yeah, I want to thank you all for watching me do this live. I'm not going to end the stream. We've got, another 45 minutes to go. So I'm going to go back to doing the normal, hey, I'm going to actually talk to you guys stream. But I'm going to turn the freaking cameras off because I don't have to have them recording anymore. I guess a good question is, where did the gold tape go? Because I hit it and it fell on the floor. Oh. A good question is, how much silver duct tape did I use? What's nice, if I go back to Blick and ask for more tape, which Justin swore up and down I could do, I won't have to unroll tape onto something else. If I have multiple colors of tape, then it should be easy enough to share. So I've got a brand new roll of silver that I haven't done anything with. And that weighs 144 grams. And then the roll that I've used, 98 grams. Okay, so I can probably get 3 blades or so, 3 hilts per super shiny, fancy silver duct tape. So I can get, that's good. I can probably get 3 blades from a full roll of color. I can probably get 3 blades from a full roll of silver. That's good to know. That works out well. The black and the gold and honestly, electrical tape is great. All these things can be used to add color and details and things, but I wanted to restrict myself because that makes it fun for me. It's sort of like, what can I build with just the Legos I've got here? And you fiddle with the parts you've got. So there we are. Yeah, that works out really well. I can get 3 pieces of pipe out of 1 section of pipe. I can get 3 wraps of tape from 1 roll of tape. The only thing I can't do, but I don't know if they sell the 4-packs of the insulation foam anymore. So for a stick and a half of the foam, of the 4-foot foam, mind you, the 4-foot foam, if all I can get is 6 foot, that's going to be different. Now it's 1-to-1. With the 4-foot foam for a stick and a half, or a 3-foot foam, for a stick and a half, I can get a blade. So that works out really well because I was asked to have enough materials for about 15 people. So if you can make it out to Rancho Cordova, if you're in the area, be awesome to see you on May the 4th. I'll be doing this again live. And then if we need more time, we can go over to my booth display area and continue to play with putting lightsabers together, as well as being nice and violent in front of City Hall, which is going to be cool. So it's not cool. It's play cool. Let me turn the cameras off, and we'll go back to having a regular live stream. And what I mean by turning the cameras off is I'm going to stop them from recording. So my apologies to everyone. I'm not going to, there it is, scroll backwards and look at all the comments that I missed. We'll just keep going. Oh, good. Recorded the whole time. There we are. Okay. So the things that we haven't seen. So I've did the project part, right? I did the full, this is more behind the scenes stuff. I did the full, this is, I did forget something I wanted to do. I'll have to turn the cameras back on. Now I forgot how I wanted to do it. It's weird. I had this idea in my head, step by step. I was going to, I guess it's not important, probably. What's missing? What do we don't have yet? The project part is done. I've got my finished prop, whether it's a duct tape lightsaber or a helmet or whatever. There's the beauty shots. I'm not going to do that live. The beauty shots is the stuff I do at the end of my videos, showing the finished product, usually finished product. So it's usually sitting on the table, or I've got my turntable that I've lucked into. Thank you, James. I know you're not watching, but thank you, James, for the turntable. A way of showing close up what the finished thing is, a way of hanging on it briefly so the viewer, if they want to, can pause and actually get to look at it. But at the same time, it needs to move on because we're at the end of the video. It's awesome looking at the analytics of my videos because I've got a really good retention rate. I've got everybody will log in, and then it usually dips down to about 45% retention within the first minute because people dip out for whatever reason. It's not the project they want. Fine. That 45% maintains all the way up until those beauty shots start flying in and I start talking to the camera again, and then it just plummets. Project's done, don't care anymore. Which is fine. I'm not complaining at all. It's just neat to look at, and it's actually, I think, really good that I can keep 40 to 45% retention for the majority of the video. That is a high number. So I'm very happy with that. Thank all of you for your participation in reaching that 45%. Just go to, Dan does junk. Just go to Blick, empty their shelves. Justin said I could. I was trying to be conservative. He was like, no, do you want more? No, do you want more? Because I didn't want to just empty the shelves. I didn't want to take advantage of the guy. I didn't want to take advantage of his generosity and hospitality, right? Because I don't think I'm going to piss him off. What's really funny and awesome is going into my local Blick, the majority of, so the store manager, the district manager, the general manager, they all go, oh, hey, Odin, when I walk in. And honestly, that location started carrying Plaid FX paints because they were watching my videos. So at this point, it's the one place I can go in town still to pick up more Plaid FX paint because the hobby stores aren't carrying it anymore. Groot, hello there, Odin. How are you doing today? Pretty good. I actually did a project and shot a video. Now I get to edit. Which is funny. I do enjoy editing, but I just gotta do it. I gotta find time to do it at home. Jerry, I gotta mention. Woo! Yep, 100%. Lightsabers are always cool. Thank you, Bruce Marvel. That Daniel Knight says that reminds me. I need a new LARPing group where I live. Yes. What was it? It was Hawkeye, right? MCU. Television show Hawkeye. He hooks up with LARPers in Central Park, and that's how he gets some of his gear. Yeah, Dan does Junk says, I know it's going to be a lot of work, but it'd be cool if I can get the large Vader fig done for the May the 4th con. Yeah, well, it is 2 weeks out. It's possible. So, Dan's asking about a large Vader fig, and I mentioned it before that been working on large-scale Lego figures. I know all of you who are part of Discord have seen different works in progress, and then Dan, of course, has brought by his Blacktron 2 a couple of times. The headless Blacktron 2 is standing over here, and so we've shown that a couple of times. But what I've been doing is making some new figures. Headless. He's headless because the head is on a pike outside. I've got a tube with his blank head stuck on it with the Luffy hair put on it so it can dry outside in the sun and in the wind. Which I could go get it, but that means I would be walking away for a couple of minutes. That'd be mic'd, but anyway. So this is the large size Lego figure. I've been making Lego parts for a little while. I had that blade that I was playing with before. You know, you've seen me make a few Odin-sized Lego pieces before, so that's kind of what this is. His arm is not strong enough to... Yeah, it's not going to happen. The heavy plastic on this one is not going to happen. So we've been making some other figures, and Dan's been helping a lot. So what I've got... I had mentioned Luffy. Luffy from One Piece. Hey, I can talk. Same scale, right? Same. This is the Odin scale, Lego scale, which is where's one of the other parts that I made before? It came about from the round piece of the hand would clip. This was a 30 millimeter tube that I wrapped with 6 millimeter foam, creating a 42 millimeter diameter piece. And so that became the basis for Odin scale Legos. And it's fun to keep making more and more parts that fit that scale so pieces still work together. So here's Luffy. His hair's drying because I used foam clay foam, whichever, foam mo, in order to help clean some stuff up. I sculpted a piece and ground it and whatever to make his hair, and then we used the clay on it. And then I've got his hat, which is in process of being painted over to the side. And this is all patterned to look like the Lego compatible Luffy figure that exists that isn't actually... It's not an actual kit, right? There isn't actually a Luffy that you can buy that Lego made. I don't think Luffy uses a walkie-talkie. But there are companies that make Lego compatible figures that have more characters available. And working with a local retailer who sells these things, and he was super excited about this, talked to Dan, and so the guy talked to Dan first about making giant Lego, and we all ended up deciding, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And it is, and it's also a lot of freaking work. So Shock Roman did all the painting on this. We set up a video projector, and scanned and took pictures of the actual minifig, and then projected that onto the final sculpt we've got here. And Shock Roman went through and painted all the paint details that belong on Luffy in order to make the character. And yeah, he is 100% a Lego figure. I made all the joints a lot tighter. Oh, that one. Well, it does rotate on us. That one's not now. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, wow. He's that. We stuck him together shortly after shellacking him, or varnishing him, so it looks like the varnish stuck. We'll have to have that fixed before we hand it over. So the legs move. It comes apart the way it's supposed to come apart. Just trust me on that. So we got Luffy pretty much done. By the end of the night tonight, Luffy will be done. The hair will be painted, and the hat will be painted. Done. The other one that we've already got done is Voltron. cool having all these figures. So this especially is a, what do you call it? It's a collaboration build. This is a build between myself and Dan Does Junk, and a lot of painting by Shop Gremlin. Let me turn the sword around so the seam is away from the camera. What happened here was Dan pioneered some of the shapes and sizes. I mean, we're copying Lego, right? But he pioneered making the large scale figure, gave me a pattern, and so I worked with that as well as changing things the way that I kind of wanted to in order to make these two guys. So I cut and made all the body pieces for both of these figures. Dan made the Voltron helmet, made Voltron shield, and made Voltron sword, which he explained to me, this is the first foam cosplay sword that he's built. It's pretty elaborate and pretty cool, Dan. Well done. And of course the helmet's amazing. It's just huge. So everything's huge, which is cool. Then he's also got his Voltron wings and that backpack piece. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's that angle with the open stud on it. This is a classic Lego piece. Well, classic to me anyway. So the specialized wings fit in the way they're supposed to. He all goes together just like he's supposed to. These figures, Voltron and Luffy, will actually be picked up Monday or Tuesday and head off to a show in Las Vegas, Level Up, I think it's called. So these will be on display at Level Up in Vegas this upcoming weekend, which is the 27th and 28th. So, bye guys. It's been a lot of fun building you. We are also in process of finishing Vader. This is what Dan was talking about. So let me make some more table space for yet another large figure. Set my lightsaber blade against the wood. So Luffy off to the side. Voltron next to Luffy. Push some tape out of the way. Blacktron off to the side. Lego props. Now what's great fun, if I can find where I put Vader, which I don't see him right... Oh, here he is while Vader is still a work in progress, he's actually very accurate to... smashing his head on. He's very accurate to Revenge of the Sith. Look, it's Revenge of the Sith Anakin. Okay, we have the body done. We have his legs done. They're just prepped for detail painting. We have his arms done. They're just prepped for detail painting. Which is what Shop Gremlin's been doing, using the video assist by taking pictures and scanning so you can scan the flat stuff. I have to take pictures of round pieces and projecting them with a video projector flat down onto the pieces and painting them up, right? And literally me picking up this brush is because this brush is the main brush that Shop Gremlin is using. Can we see that closer? So here's Anakin. Here's the brush. It's a whole lot of glare there, sorry. But it is a tiny detail brush. And the way it's worked out for painting, like I love the colors burnt sienna, right? Which is great for Vader's face. That's it. This is the brush size. Everything is done with because it's just the best to do. And yeah, did both sides because the Vader figure is a two-sided face. So Shop Gremlin sat there and hand painted both sides. So yeah, as well as this is all. This was the first one that we painted. But I helped with doing a lot of cutting. This was done with masking tape, and we took an X-Acto knife and cut all the masking away so it could be sprayed with silver, which worked out really well. But of course, it leaves tiny little scars in the foam. So the rest of the figure is probably just going to be hand painted with a micro brush because that's the way it works. That's the way life works. We're not happy about it, but that's the way it works. Is this going to be a video? We ran out of time. We had lots of lead time to get this done, and the plan was to do videos for these guys. But then in order to try and get them done, just cut out doing the video. And the same thing happened with Dan. He was going to do video of the portions of the Voltron that he made and the Boba Fett that he's currently working on. Now he may be shooting Boba Fett. I hope he is. But yeah, we're making more. unfortunately, I don't have a video for it. But I want my own Vader, and so I might do videos for it, or I might do like a recap video showing some pictures and things if I remember to take them. The problem is, and why I have multiple cameras running, the way I did the presentation today, I don't have camera brain and creative brain. I am either running cameras and making sure that I've got all my stuff in frame and I know what's going on, or I'm figuring out how I'm going to cut my foam and glue it together and not cut my fingers. And I don't really do well trying to switch between the two. So yeah, by eliminating the recording it actually sped up the build process, and we're able to have these two done pretty much on time for level up. It wasn't going to happen otherwise. The plan was to have all three. Didn't make it, right? So obviously it needed the time. Thankfully, it seems to be okay with the fact that it's going to take a little longer to get things taken care of. But yeah, this is what we've been working on. Pretty excited by it. Definitely going to be doing a video just on making a body. That's a future project, because I haven't recorded that either. And then while doing that video, I can reference building these guys, right? It's become kind of part of the video about how once you have a basic Lego body built, you can customize it to do other things that you want to do with. Yeah. It's a lot of fun to have the giant size Legos and to build them and to put them together and to have them be built the same way. They squeak really badly, so I'm not going to do it with the microphone I'm wearing. But trust me, the hips come off just like they're supposed to. The heads come off just like they're supposed to. The arms move. The hands move. Everything does it just like a minifig is supposed to. And then I can take the other pieces I've already made, like the walkie-talkie or the classic space torch, and it fits in their hands. Yeah, this is addicting, and I'm going to be making more. Not a whole lot more because they're big and take up a lot of space. But crush. I suppose Shop Gremlin gave me a hand to help me do this. Is that what it is? But the process of painting it, it's a PVC pipe that fits inside of the arm, and then it's just plastic dipped. Like this is going to be one of Vader's hands. So it's just black plastic dipped, and then we'll cover it with a satin varnish, water-based varnish, polyurethane varnish, that to give it the better sheen that these guys have, the richer color. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure why I was tossed a hand. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but it's cool. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's cool. So this is other things that I've been doing, and there will be more coming up. But unfortunately, there aren't videos for these because of too much con crunch. Voltron. Luffy. Bright, colorful. The best Lego fig. Was this made with EVA foam? Yes. These giant figs are made with EVA foam. There's a little bit of MDF wood because I'll be honest, I'm laser cutting my bodies. So inside of the hips specifically, there is a layer of MDF foam and a layer of MDF foam wood. There's a layer of MDF wood, and there's a layer of MDF wood to give it some more structure, right? So it's not as wobbly. I also have a piece of 3mm plywood behind the EVA on the chest on both sides to help make sure it stays flat. And then I've got a piece of 3mm plywood across the top of the chest. Same thing, to help give the head a little more structure. The giant post, there's a cardboard tube inside of this. Again, to help give it some structure. So we got cardboard tube, we've got some MDF, we have some MDF here, and then the joints for the hands and the arms, which were tossed to me, but those are PVC pipe because it's just really easy to have those connect together. So the bits that connect here, this is just 3/4 inch thin walled PVC pipe. There's just 3/4 inch thin walled PVC pipe for how the arms connect. And well, I'm not happy about this at all. There it goes. So the arms are also, this is 1 inch thick wall PVC, and this is 3/4 inch thin wall PVC pipe, or Schedule 200 pipe. But I take this pipe vertically on the bandsaw and just lightly cut through one side. There's a seam down here. So the holding it vertical, the saw is cutting. I just cut just through the first half and then withdraw the PVC pipe. So now I've got a big C. That is almost exactly the right amount of material to remove to squeeze the pipe back together so it fits inside of a 1 inch PVC pipe. And then some glue and it holds together. So, but found out that the manufacturing process for these 1 inch pipes, they are really worried about the outside diameter consistently being their 1 inch size, right? Or whatever size. The outside has to be consistent because it has to fit with all the PVC couplings and fittings, the T's and the angles. The inside, not so much. Doesn't matter. As long as it's minimally the Schedule 40, they don't care if it's got some variance, which means I wasn't able to just make a bunch of hands and then give a hand to Dan and have it fit inside of the PVC pipe that he bought 40 minutes from here, because they don't fit. So they have to be done custom for each one, which is not a big deal. It just requires a small bit of planning ahead. It's good noise. Groot, have to leave you guys now. Take care. Have a fantastic evening. And I guess you can figure that one out. It's good night. Gut. Anyway. Good night, Ox of Gut. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Ojikata cosplay. My son is going bananas watching this show. Hey, how's it going, young Ogichita? Ogichita? Hello, young Ogichita. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. I'm going to make more videos about how to make this stuff. Going to have patterns available. So if you guys want to be so crazy to have giant teddy bear size Lego figures, you can do that. Trust me, they're a bit of work, but it's cool as hell to have giant guys hanging around. I'm going to make a couple of classic spacemen. Dan, he's got the Blacktron 2 minifig pretty much already finished. He's currently working on an M-Tron because he's also a classic spaceman, but he likes the other factions. I just want to do the classic, white astronaut, red astronaut, the ones that came with 497. Yeah, those are the guys that I want. Will I be doing a part list? Sure. Should make a Viking Luffy mashup sometime. Yes, you should, Daniel Knight. I love the fact that you do all the mashups. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla would be awesome. Occurred to me. So the same company that makes these Lego compatible figures in the actual Lego size, which Luffy is floating around here somewhere. I just set it right over here. Here we go. So I'll set them right here on Anakin's dead body right in front. There we are. So there is an actual Lego-sized Luffy standing next to, Luffy Kaiju. They make a Godzilla this size that's using the Lego-size body, but it has this giant specialized head that fits over that has the Godzilla spikes and the tail. And trust me, it's occurred to me that to do that Godzilla this size would be cool. So that is a hard possibility. But I want to get some other stuff done first. Am I going to be upset if somebody else beats me to it? No, I'll just think it's cool. Good night in Danish and sov gut, almost the same. Okay. Will you make that stream a video on your channel? Yes. I'm going to make this stream of making a lightsaber a video on the channel. The plans for making more giant minifigs, I definitely want to make a video about how I make them. I'm glad I actually didn't right off the bat because I'm going to change some things that I did. Some of the connections are a little too tight. And then once we started projecting the scans of the actual figure onto the giant figure that I made, the aspect ratio is off. These torsos are a little bit too tall. The legs are a little bit too wide or something. So I want to adjust that with some later figs that I do, because I'm not making these by the millions, right? So, all right, these ones are 4 millimeters taller. Oh well, whatever. We're all gonna live. But yeah, I do want to make more videos about how I make these guys. I want to make a parts list. I want to make patterns that are available for you guys. When I do the patterns, there's going to be free downloadable PDF patterns you can print out and cut with a hobby knife. I'm toying with the idea if I want to charge for laser patterns or not. I've gotten into such a habit of free patterns, I feel like a cheapskate doing that, but, income. It'd be neat to make a boffer-style Generation 1 Optimus Prime axe. Yes, it would. Axes are okay for buffer. There are additional rules for all those things that stick out for a lot of LARPing events. Oftentimes, that stuff has to be even softer than just PVC insulation foam and duct tape, because now you've added some weight to the front of it, you added some mass to the front of it, and you're going to come down onto somebody. So that has to be, sometimes has to be a little bit softer, but it all depends on your safety marshal with the group you're playing with, or with your buddies, whatever you're going to agree to. Generally speaking, 2.5 inches is the diameter. This is what Hire for Hire was telling me, that if your blade is 2.5 inches in diameter or more, then that is acceptable, because that's not going to fit in the eye holes of a helmet. That's going to be blunt enough that it's not going to cause a problem. So this is probably not wide enough, because I don't think this is 2.5. It is not. It is 2 inches. So this is not going to be legal on with the LARPing events that Hire for Hire does. Yes, more green in the shop. Gojira. Hat Vexen. I got it pretty close. Gichada. Gichada. It mean warrior in something else I can't pronounce. Gichada. Hello, young Gichada. It'd be funny, the classic space helmet is for some reason harder to make than the modern helmet. Yes, Dan does junk, that would be funny. So we're talking about Blacktron 2, we're talking about Mtron, and then classic space. If you look at the history of Lego pieces, there is a different style of helmet that they made. I want to do effectively the Benny space helmet. If you've seen the Lego movie, Benny is a classic space Lego man. Spaceship, which is 100% accurate. One of the broken chin strap, again, a classic space helmet problem. That was something they just did for fun in the movie. Yeah, the chin straps broke. They actually went through, I think, 3 versions of chin straps in the 70s and early 80s, trying to beef them up to prevent that from happening because it was such a problem. So that helmet is just a dome on the top and straight down the sides with a slightly thicker, because they broke, chin strap on the bottom. If I remember right, the original chin strap was really thin and just matched kind of the bottom radius, and then they had it dip down, but it still kind of matched the radius, so they made it thicker this way first, and then the third version, it got thicker outwards, so it had this like bump that sticks out that still exists in the modern helmet. The modern style motorcycle helmet that Legos now makes, that's the only helmet that they really, I shouldn't say that because obviously it's not. The modern helmet they went to in the late 80s was patterned more like a human's motorcycle helmet, where it's thinner in the bottom, it's wider at the top, it's more aerodynamic, and it was made with pips in the side or dents in the side, so you can have a raising visor attached to it. Those existed with those first version helmets too, but it didn't work as well. If you look up the yellow Lego Castle, that was the first visor they made, and where the dents and stuff, in my mind, comes from. Things changed, and great, I don't care. Lego, please keep changing and doing different things because I like your product. But I want to do the ones that I had as a kid that I got fond memories of. Schultz Division says, I love it if Lego actually developed this idea for the parks. That would be pretty cool. Daniel Knight says, once the stream's over, I'll go back to work on Medieval Luigi. Nathan says, I love your show. Keep going. Thank you, Nathan. I don't plan on stopping. I had to take a hiatus. I'm going to be coming back. Right now, my plan is to have a new video, the lightsaber video, for May the 4th or a couple of days beforehand. And at that point, I want to continue putting videos out as often as I can make them. And unfortunately, that's the best I can promise right now. If that means I have one video a month, I'm going to have one video a month. But that's one more than a month than we had this past year. Because I have to have a day job, because background life has changed, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go back to the every week format. That was a lot of work. That burnt me out, almost to the point of calling it completely quits. So I don't expect to go back to that level of production again. If I can get 2 videos out in a month, great. If I can get 2 videos out or 3 videos out in 2 months, great. That's the goal, as often as I can get one out. Connor Cook, hey Odin, how's it going, dude? It's been a while. Hey Connor, going well. I don't know what else to say. I just said a lot of stuff. Hopefully you heard some of that. Jermaine Crutchfield saying, I'd like to make Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper in that style. I have a car audio buildy theme. Oh, okay. I have a car audio built after the theme of the Sith. Nice. Yeah, I thought about Stormtrooper. What Dan's talking about doing, what we both independently thought about doing, and then, just agreed. The Boba Fett helmet is by Lego, because it's so small, right? It's just made to look like the profile of Boba Fett, and then the details are printed on it. So it's a solid piece of plastic. There's enough size here. My first thought was be faithful to the shape of the Lego helmet, but actually put a transparent T-visor in it, right? Take a piece of the welding visor stuff that I've got, like I use for Mando helmet, and put that into the Lego one. Dan is thinking about actually just taking the cosplay helmet pattern and shrinking it down and just using it, because it's still going to look like Mando, which I think is a great idea too, because that's less work. I mean, it's less thinking work, right? So it's going to be fine, whichever way you go with it. So Stormtrooper helmet, that is all compound curves. That's all squishy, fuzzy, lumpy stuff, right? You look at the Stormtrooper helmet, and aside from the rubber trim that's stuck around his brow, there is nothing straight and flat and curved, single dimension curve on that. So it's going to take some work. One of the reasons why I sidestepped doing it. William Shakespeare Props has got some Stormtrooper helmet patterns. That would be a first place I'd probably look to see if I could glean some info from for making a helmet this size. Because not against it, but I'm going to do some other stuff first. Darth Cabea says, as long as you're making content, we'll be here for you. Thank you, Darth. I've missed your videos. Thank you, Darth. He showed me how to say it. I'm going to say it wrong. Ogichida says, can you do a shout out to my son Cedar? He can't stop talking about making these. Hey, Cedar, how's it going? It's a lot of fun to make these. It's a lot of work to make these, and you're going to need Dad's help because it requires power tools, in my mind, to get some of this stuff cut down. To do the arms, we've actually got blocks of foam. Get one that I've got silver tape on, paint on. So I take some large pieces of kneeling pad foam, and which is 40 millimeters thick, and then I cut one in half, so I end up with enough thickness to be able to make the arm. And then I've got the profile that I've drawn on here with a silver Sharpie, as well as the wrist, so I can cut this down. And then I'm saying this like, this is how I'm going to do it, when in reality this is like one of the steps Dan's willing to take over. And then it takes a belt sander or a rotary tool, and in order to shave it to get the rounded arms like what Luffy's got, because it takes it takes some doing. To do it with a rotary tool, it's going to take about an hour to do one arm, just a little bit at a time. With a belt sander and some experience, Dan is now able to make a pair of arms in about 45 minutes. But still, that's using power tools. So, is it doable? Yes, but you'll probably want to get some help. And of course, the glue is toxic, so wear a respirator, please, or do it outside. At least the glue that we use, the contact cement glue. Can you use other glues? Yeah, but epoxy is still toxic. You know, you don't want to be breathing the fumes. Really, it stinks. But honestly, Cedar, it's a lot of fun being creative. I cannot stress the joy and the fun of building something, especially something you can relate to, and then getting to play with it. You know, even if you just do this, it's fun. And definitely figure out something you want to build, talk to Dad about it, and build, please. Should I make Freddy a Fazbear helmet? Possibly. Dan Does Junk is talking about it. He'll probably make a couple more of the modern motorcycle helmet patterns before he's happy with them. And he'll probably give me one of them, which is cool. I'm looking forward to it. I keep thinking about how to make the visor, right? Because the visor is an important part for Blacktron and M-Tron to me. Those particular figures, as well as the Futron and Spyrus, I mean, throw all these dumb names out at you. If you're not a Lego fan, you're not going to know. They all had these plastic visors that would raise and lower, right? So now you finally have a spaceman with a visor. The classic spacemen didn't, because they're pieces of plastic. They don't really need to breathe, so it's not a big deal. They're never going to be in space. But for the sake of play, for the sake of building Legos, for the fun of it, they created these visors. So now they have a sealed suit. Scaling that visor up in the 12.92 times dimension, whatever it is, we got it written down, I don't have it memorized. Those visors end up being over half an inch thick, right? They end up being like 14 millimeters thick. That is way too thick to adequately bend and make a visor out of. But 3 millimeter plastic is still going to look fine on these guys because it's a visor. It's not going to look out of place. And at 3 millimeters, I can bend and form that acrylic with a heat gun. I can heat it up in an oven and drape it over a wooden form in order to get that visor shape. And both M-Tron and Blacktron 2 have a transfluorescent neon green color. I can get that as an acrylic or one really close, and so that's really fun for me. So I'm really excited about making the visors for Dan's helmets. And at the same time, if Dan wants to do it, I'm not going to feel like he's, whatever, do it, dude. But yeah, for some reason, that's the part that I'm excited about doing. And Dan Does Junk. If you're not seeing it in the chat right now, Okichida, he's got a video for his Blacktron 2 build with downloadable pattern for the way he did it. It's only slightly different than what I've done here. If you really look close at a Lego figure, the outside leg is on an angle, ever so slightly. It is very slight. So these have the angle. I managed to put that in there, which wasn't trivial. Dan's original pattern, he kept the leg straight, which is probably a lot easier to do by hand, right? Even using a pattern. So definitely, and you can't tell. You really can't. You really have to look to know that that's not there. But it's just, that's the type of little stuff that I like doing because that's the challenge that's fun for me. I would never want to push that on anyone else. Dan Does Junk is saying the Lego Technic visors are the same thickness as the minifig visors. So making larger visors, I will agree, doesn't matter. Scaling it up, who cares? They're still a millimeter thick. And Dan says, go for it, Odin. He doesn't mind not doing the visors. Thank you, Dan. Trash Panda is here. Sweet. Haven't seen you in a while, Trash Panda. Good morning, Australia. Good morning, Australia. Sorry. Good morning, Australia. Hello, Trash Panda. Hello, little Trash Panda, if you're watching. It's cool to hear from you guys, and I hope you're enjoying your Monday as I'm wrapping up my Sunday. Dan admits that he kept his leg straight because he didn't notice the angle at the time. Yeah, I didn't really either. It's okay. Well, I just had a bit of a computer crash. Oh, we got LARPing weapons being shared in Discord, which is cool. So I have to close these out. Sure am glad that my stream is being encoded through hardware here in the desk and not through the computer that just had a little meltdown. So let me get back to where I was. I haven't tried to come back and do this in a little while. YouTube Studio. It is still streaming, is it not? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought so. The air compressor kicked on. I should still be running live. Yes, I am. Coming back. There it is. And that is why I spent the money for the Blackmagic ATEM switcher because it's doing all the encoding in its hardware totally separate from my computer. I could reboot my computer and not lose the stream. Where are we at? Oh, we're at the end of the stream. Tommy Dragon Deaton. Hi, Odin. Hey, thank you. He says, hi, Odin. Love you, man. Thank you, Tommy. Hello. Computers are fun, aren't they? Oh, yeah, Connor. They're a blast. Luffy looks impatiently at Odin working at the computer. Yes, he does. He does have hair. It's just outside drying. There's pictures in Discord. Daniel Light's got a roll. Yeah, it's pretty much the end of the thing here. Voltron keeping it cool while Luffy's just pissed. I want to thank all of you who hung out with me for the entire stream. I want to thank all of you who stuck around and watched me make my boffer lightsaber. I want to say Lego. Boffer lightsaber from scratch. Seeing how the sausage is made. Normally, I don't do quite as much talking through it. I knew I was on a live stream. So when I'm shooting my videos, I'll look up at the camera on occasion and talk about stuff. I don't talk my way through the whole thing. But we'll see if I can't minimize the amount of VO that I need to do for that particular video and just kind of keep what I've got. So I want to thank you guys for watching me do that. It's the first time I've tried doing that kind of a two thing at once. And then this is pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to having more of these done. I'm seeing chat fly by. Ralph says, always great to be here. Ralph, still love the metal stuff. That's really cool. I love the idea that you're doing metal brands for Transformers. He had pictures of Decepticon logos and Autobot logos that he's going to be making metal versions of, which is really cool. Schultz Division, take care, Odin, Shop Gremlin, and Dan Does Junk, and everyone else in chat and Discord. Thank you, Schultz. So next weekend, if I'm not at a con, I'm going to be taking the day off. Either way, I will not be streaming next weekend, the last weekend of April. The weekend after that is May the 5th, and I believe Felicia and I already talked about wanting to stream on May the 5th. We'll be able to recap what happened on May the 4th when we're both at the event that's going on in Rancho Cordova. So it should just be 2 weeks, and I'll be right back here, hopefully with Felicia, doing a May the 5th live stream, which means we may still not quite get around to working on the Ghostbusters stuff. But we do have the tape, have a plan, and want to get the ribbon cable done because that's been the stopping point. I've actually been worried about that thing for a long time, so I've got anxiety built into it. We got to get those Proton Packs done, man. We started it, and a movie came out, and we kept piddling and working away, and another movie came out. So got to get those packs done, and then we can go back to just whatever we're doing in our live streams. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for listening to me ramble by myself. Just me, Voltron, and Luffy, and then Shock Gremlins running around being a cryptid somewhere here in the shop. So it's really fun. It'd be cool if Ralph can cast Power Ranger coins. Yes, it would. Connor Cook says, it was nice being here for the short bit. Glad to see you're back. Thank you, Connor. Yes, Happy to be back. Good news is this stream will live on. You'll be able to see the entire thing in replay. You just won't be able to actually talk to me live. If you happen to want to listen to me ramble for 2.5 hours about duct tape. So, what's going to happen in 2 weeks? I'm going to start a stream early again, like I do every time, which means that everyone who's part of my Patreon, everyone who's on Discord, almost specifically, with the two of them pretty much are simultaneous, are able to get into the early portion of the stream. This reduces the number of the amount of activity in the chat. It's more of a one-on-one live with just the core Odin Makes peoples. So if you want to get in on that, please check out patreon.com/Odin Makes, and just join at the Discord level or higher, and you'll have access to the early live streams. You'll have the ability to chat with me and Shock Gremlin and Dan Does Junk and Felicia on Discord. We're all on there all the time. And then, of course, we also still try to play games on Fridays, and this upcoming Friday might actually happen. We're still playing Among Us because tradition, I'm enjoying the game when we get a chance to play it. So if you want to be able to do all that, please jump in at Discord. It does help me. You guys actually saved my bacon more than once. I really appreciate the support. It's been really awesome support, not just financially, but emotionally for me. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the fact that you've been there for me for this past year and a half, which has been really rough for me. So thank you all very, very much. With that, before I get all super sappy, I want to say it's been a lot of fun. It's been Sunday. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'll be back doing another live stream. And as always, it takes me forever to figure out how to say goodbye. But this is how Odin says goodnight.